Well, hey, Cookster here, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be applying some lizard skin sound control. Lizard skin is a sprayable liquid, like a paint, like an undercoating, that you spray on. They have a sound control and a heat insulation. They're both insulation. One's more for sound deadening and one's for heat. You can also use both of them in the same, like on the same panel, or you can use one or the other. In my doors here, I'm only using the sound control. I'll be using the heat control later on the firewall, the floor, maybe the back, with the floor and the firewall for sure. And you can put the sound control on it too, so you have heat insulation and sound insulation. So listen to how the door sounds when it shuts. You hear how much quieter that is? You hear how dull that panel is? There's no tin can sound, no ringing. I know this is not a very good scientific test or anything to show you how much deader these panels are, but if you've got one of these trucks, you know, I rode in this truck for 30 years. I can hear that door closing in my mind right now, and this is just so much quieter. By the time I get the sound control on the entire cab, minus the roof of course, firewall, floor, back, both doors, man, this cab's going to sound so much more quiet. It probably won't be as quiet as a modern vehicle, but it's going to be so much more quiet. So yeah, I just wanted to show you kind of how it sounds. I know that's not a very good experiment, but I tried. So this is lizard skin sound control after it's dried. It's kind of a bluish blackish color. When it dries, it's a very dark gray, darn near black. You can see black on the edges, but that's the lizard skin on the skin, door skin. And I also sprayed it inside the shell. Since I had the doors apart, there was no reason not to spray both halves. Just didn't make sense not to do it. Like I said, it's sprayable with a spray gun. I like it a whole lot better than like the Dynamat, where you have to cut it and peel it and stick it. That stuff gets on my nerves. I hate doing that stuff. So I prefer the spray-on type. It's a little more expensive. It's a lot expensive actually, but it's good stuff. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by Lizard Skin. Lizard Skin people, if you're seeing this and want to send me some, hey, I'm here. I like your stuff. I like it a lot. I've used it on two vehicles now. This one and my Ford project that I've got, you know, parked away for now. So anyway, come on in and sit a while and I'll show you how I did it. Here we go. So this is lizard skin. This is lizard skin sound control. They make two kinds, sound control and a ceramic insulation, a heat control. In my Ford, which is my Ford cab, which is right here, in the floor and the roof, I put sound control and heat control, so to you know, heat insulation for the bottom and the top. The back I just put sound control, and I know you can't see it, but it's in there. The firewall I put heat control and sound control on the inside of the firewall, so the outside is clean. You know, it's got a clean paint job. And then inside the cab, I won't have to put one of those like insulating fiberglass blanket things. I just spray it with lizard skin and I'm done. So as I said, this is the lizard skin sound control. This is a 2-gallon bucket. They sell it in gallon buckets, and maybe, I'm not sure if they sell it smaller, but they definitely sell it in gallon buckets. This stuff's expensive. This 2 gallons was over $100. Were you sitting down when I said that? I forgot to warn you ahead of time. This stuff's gotten expensive like everything else the last 2 or 3 years, but it's good stuff. I like it. For those of you who are familiar with Dynamat and those other kind of mats where you have to cut it and fit it and stick it on, I hate that crap. That's just I like tedious stuff, but that's just too damn tedious for me. Cutting and fitting all that mess and fitting, notching and doing, and the Dynamat's not cheap. It's probably not as expensive per square foot as this is, although I haven't done the math. Those of you that are interested could obviously do the math and see which one's cheaper. But I just like this stuff because you put in a can, a spray gun. By the way, you have to use their spray gun. This is their they're like an undercoating gun. You put it in a gun, you shoot it, you spray it where you want it, and you're done. None of that cutting and fitting, and I hate that mess. I can't stand doing that. The gun, it comes in their lizard skin kit thing, they call it. It's got the gun. I don't know if I got a picture of it here on the box. I've had this box now for years. Oh, here it is. It comes with the gun and a mixer. Basically, is the only two things you get. And an extra, I'm not even sure what that's for. That's a air nozzle or something. And then somewhere is there's a little gauge, a thickness gauge, a millage gauge. Anyway, I got to find that. But you use that to tell the depth of your coats, how thick you're getting them. They want you to get this stuff at a certain thickness. I guess it works best and sticks best and all that good stuff. There it is. It looks like this. I'll show you how to use it later. But basically, these little notches are all different thicknesses, and you stick it in there and you pick the right depth. And I don't remember right now which one it is. I'll have to tell you later. And when the thickness of it reaches the top of that notch, you're done. Pretty cool little thing. This stuff does spray on thick, as I mentioned. Don't spray it behind places where like hinges and anything that bolts on that you need to have a good flat, surface, like a door panel, or especially your door locks and stuff like that. Take that stuff off. Don't spray those places, because it'll interfere big time. By the way, I'm not sponsored. Lizard Skin, if you're watching this video, I want to send me some. Hey, I'm here. Cookster's Garage. I like your product. It's really good stuff. As I mentioned, I did a video last year on spraying lizard skin inside my cab. I don't think I ever posted it. So you can top coat it with automotive paint. So I don't know if I can show it to you, but that whole bottom of that cab is lizard skin, and then I painted the orange paint on top of it. If this video gets some views on the lizard skin, I'll try to go back and post the one on my Ford cab, but I never did post. I just never did do it, just for various reasons. I just never posted it. It's, as I said, the entire interior, the floor pan, the firewall, the roof, and the back are all coated with lizard skin for sound deadening and heat control. Here it is. It's water based. When you open the can, the jug, it's got a hint of an ammonia smell, which doesn't, I'm just telling you that because it just happened to hit me in the face. Not bad, just a little bit. But it's water based. It cleans up with water. You clean your spray gun. You clean your spray gun out with water, so that's all pretty cool. The gun kit you buy comes with the gun and this mixer. Basically, it's like a paddle you use to mix paint, or like body filler, not body filler, sheetrock mud in a 5-gallon bucket, although not as tough. You put it in here and stir it with a drill. So I got to do that here in a minute. I guess I'll show that. This stuff is pretty thick and it gets gooey. This is a brand new jug, brand new 2-gallon jug, so I gotta stir it for the first time. And then pouring it in and out of your cup can be a bit of an adventure because this stuff is thick. Anyway, it doesn't pour well, so it's kind of messy, kind of hard to deal with. And I'll see if I can show some of that later as I'm doing it. But for now, let me get set up to stir this stuff up. I got to finish doing some taping on my panels, and then we'll spray some lizard skin. So a couple things to remember when you're doing this. This stuff is thick, so the overspray carries. I mean, I can stand here and shoot this stuff probably 10, 15 feet easy, and it would coat whatever was out there. So be mindful of your overspray. Like I got 2 doors, one door here and one door here, and they're staggered because when I shoot inside of this door, which you can't see, the overspray is going to go over, and if I had that door sitting right here, spraying right here, the overspray would come over and hit the outside of my other door, which I do not want to coat. So just be mindful of your overspray. Wherever you're spraying, be careful what's behind there because it's going to get some overspray on it. And if it's really close, like I got to watch my air compressor right here, my tanks. I may even get out a piece of cardboard or something to use as kind of a shield, because I could coat my air compressor big time, which I obviously do not want to do. Alright, I got smart for a minute and went and read. I got smart for a minute and went and read the directions So the important part here is to spray it at about 50 to 70 psi, which I have to remember that. I spray mine at about 50 or so. They say to do it in 2 coats of 15 to 20 mils each. In between coats, as I said, pour the stuff back in the bucket, clean the cup out, all that good stuff, and wait an hour between coats, depending on temperature and humidity. So that's why you need to get that gun back in some water, because that stuff will start kicking quick. So in your little mil gauge, you probably can't see the little numbers. There's numbers on here that tells you how thick the coats are. Just use your little gauge and pick out the right spot for the depth. It's easy to do. You'll see it when you get one. So let's stir this stuff up. This stuff is pretty thick, so I think that's not to over stir it. I didn't read the directions again, so I'm just going to stir it till it looks good to me. One thing they tell you to do, and I highly agree with them, to get you a 5-gallon bucket with about 4 gallons of water in it to wash your stirring paddle off, and you'll also need it when you clean your gun out. So I'm gonna go clean this off, and then we'll do some more. All right, let me give you the lowdown on the doors before we start spraying lizard skin. So I'm gonna spray the entire interior of the door with the lizard skin sound control. Anything you don't want that stuff on, tape it off. And I especially places like where brackets mount. This is the window channel bracket, window channel slider, where the regulator mounts, where I'm going to put the power door regulator. Anywhere you don't want that stuff, it's like a critical fit type spot where my little bumper goes for my window door glass. Tape all that off. I taped the edges of the door seam, or the door, and I'm fixing to tape these. I tape the edges of the door off because I don't want to get lizard skin up here, obviously, because I'm going to put the door skin on and weld it back on. I don't want the edge of my window channel felt run shot with lizard skin. So anything I didn't want prime with lizard or paint with lizard skin, tape it off. So that's what that's all about. I'm going to shoot the entire interior with the sound control. Same on this door, obviously. I will add tape here. Don't freak out. The door skins are the same idea. So I taped off the door lock hole and the mounting holes for the door handle and the hole where it pokes through. You don't want lizard skin build up on here because this will affect the fit of the nuts and especially the door handle clip. I'm taping the edge of the skin off where it's going to fit on top of the shell and got to weld back on. You definitely don't want to coat that. But the rest of the inside, I'll take the top off too. The rest of the inside will all get coated with sound control. That stuff does an amazing job at sound control. That's why I'm using it. So I'll get the camera set up here and I'll show me shooting it, spraying it for a little bit, just in case somebody wants to see it. Alright, here we go. This is not like spraying paint. It takes a little bit to get used to, but you'll figure it out. As I mentioned, watch your overspray. I'm being real careful here. fact that it's thick does help control the overspray. It's just, if you raise the gun up with that nozzle, it's going to shoot it wherever you point the gun. Check with my gauge, I'm a little thin, so let me add another layer. Kind of cross hatching, that helps get to more even coverage too. Let me check the depth. No, that's pretty good there, depending on where you read it at. On average, that's pretty good. So I'm going to stop there. So that's one coat there. No need to show you the second coat. I've still got to coat the inside of the other shell and the two skins. So same process. I may move the camera over and film spraying one of the skins. But let me keep moving on, and we'll come back whenever I got something to show. Alright, I mentioned how thick this stuff is. It's more like peanut butter. Really thick peanut butter. And I was pouring it out of the can, but that makes a mess, and I don't like to make messes. You may look at my shopping around here and think it's not the best, but I'm not a messy person. I don't like to make messes, especially with stuff I'm working with and working on. That's why I put this piece of paper down. I knew this was going to make a mess, but I thought a while ago, I tried something new. This stuff is so thick, you can just dunk it out with a paint paddle. So I started doing it this way. Now when the container gets down, halfway or something like that, where it's a little bit easier to pour and a little bit easier to handle to pour, I'll probably switch back to pouring. But for now, this is actually working pretty good. It's a little slow, but it's better than making a mess everywhere. I ought to get like a gallon container with a lid on it and put some of this stuff in there. Then I got more containers of the stuff around, which doesn't really thrill me. It's just a pain in the butt to pour out of this 2-gallon container. I'll say that for sure. But I like buying the 2-gallon containers because obviously you get more. It's a little more cost effective, and I use quite a bit of this stuff. When I use it, I use quite a bit of it. So a gallon, you know, don't go very far when you're doing all the doors and the floor pans and the roof and all that stuff. Yeah. So anyway, that's how thick it is. It's thick, and it's hard, it's difficult to pour for sure. And then I just kind of keep the sides washed, or squeegee, not squeegee, but straight down, you know, so you don't have a big, you know, a bunch of it. This stuff is so thick it just sticks to the walls of the bucket. So I'm scraping and squeegeeing it off. Just one of my little quirks, OCD, mess, whatever. I see people on YouTube spilling and paint and stuff, and it goes everywhere, and that kind of stuff just drives me nuts. It's just kind of how I am, believe it or not. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show shooting the other skin. I already shot one of them. Let me see if you can see that. Alright, let's show shooting that skin. It's like shooting undercoating if you've ever shot undercoating. Pretty much the same idea. So kind of the technique I figured out for myself is I do one coat and then come back and kind of cross hatch it. And that gives me roughly my 20 mils for the first coat. That's one coat on both skins and both shells. That's got to dry about an hour or something like that. I'll double check my thickness right quick, just because that's how I do it. That's pretty much right on the money. Yeah, we'll go with that. So I got to let that dry. It's just like cleaning out a regular spray gun, only you're using water. And with spray guns too, but especially this one, is take this air cap off. Cause this orifice down in here is completely packed with that stuff. You gotta get all that cleaned out. If you don't, you're in for a bad day. I just take the air cap, swish it back in the water, so it seems cleaned out. You can get a brush if you want to. But this is just the first coat. I'm not cleaning it up to put it away for the next 6 months, so. I do want to get all the residue out of there though. That looks pretty good. And then I take the gun, dunk it down, and that's why it's nice to have a file get out of the bucket. You can fit the whole gun down in here. And you want to get all this thing clean and rinsed. So I shake it. And then I take the cup, wash it out, and then take your cup and run water down the feed tube. And that cleans the feed tube out. Feed tube is completely clogged with that stuff till you wash it out of there. And for some reason, oh, the nozzles, okay. the nozzle end's still clogged up. So I get a brush, find the brush, and I brush out down in here and clean all this out. Forgot about that. So just take a brush and brush. It's all completely full down in there. You got to get all that out of there. So once you got all you can get out with a brush, take it down in there and swirl it some more. I keep the trigger held down so the water will kind of flush up through there. And then back in the feed tube again. And now I should be able to get some water to come through the feed tube. Actually, let me see if I can help the feed tube out by cleaning it out some. Kind of like you would a gun barrel. That stuff is thick. There we go. You just got to get all this cleaned out. That's all there is to it. Some more. If anything washes out down here again, clean it out. Wash it out. You can't get this stuff too clean. Spray guns, you got to keep them clean. Even these kind of guns, you got to keep them clean. Let me finish cleaning this cup out. So I take my hands and rub down in there. Just clean the cup out, however you want to do it. Swish it around, whatever works for you. Just make darn sure and get it clean. That's the main thing. And don't splash water on your foot like I just did. Alright. Now, obviously, it's like any spray gun. We're going to blow clean water through it. Just like you do paint thinner on a gun. Paint gun. And I use the same water I cleaned out with when I'm doing in between coats. At the end, I usually get fresh, clean water. But I'm not ready for that yet. And run water through it. Watch where you point this, because water's going to go everywhere. I'm also a big proponent of back flushing with your finger on top of the air cap. You got to be careful, especially at higher pressure, because you'll blow stuff out. But a little bit of that, blows everything back through. So. That's pretty much got us cleaned up and ready for coat number 2. So for now, that's that. Just a matter of waiting another hour, shoot another coat. I'm not going to show the second coat. You've seen one coat. So when they get all done, I'll probably come back and do a wrap up. So for now, that's it for now. I'll come back when I'm done. Let me point out one thing about spraying this stuff, and I've had to learn the hard lesson a couple times. You're spraying along this thing and it's spraying great, and all of a sudden it starts spitting and sputtering and spuging out really big blobs of mess, and you think something's wrong with your gun. It's not. You're out of material. The feed tube in this gun does not reach all the way to the bottom of the cup. It stops a good ways short. Not sure why they built it that way, but that's how they made it. So when it starts spitting and sputtering, especially if you're, like I'm painting a flat surface, so I've got the gun tipped up. That gun, half-ish way, you'll look in your cup and say, I got a half a cup in here, it's working. No, it's rolled forward and it's starting not to pick up. Trust me, I had to learn that hard lesson about 3 different times. And I was spraying this panel and it spuged on me, and another panel and it did it too. So it's out. Trust me, just go put more material in it. It's fine. Don't do like I did one time and get stubborn and keep thinking something's wrong with the gun and keep spuging it and you wind up having a big old mess. Don't do that. Trust me, just put some more material in your gun. You'll go right back to spraying like it's supposed to. Believe me. One thing that's important with this, once you get finished, is pulling your tape off at the right time. Just like a paint job, you don't want to let a paint job get completely cured out, completely dry like overnight before you pull it, because the tape line gets hard and it won't pull a good clean line. Sometimes you can even pull the paint off, or your tape line won't pull off good. This is the same way. If you let this stuff cure up and then pull the tape, you get a really hard edge, and it sometimes doesn't peel. Ask me how I know. So it's still pretty sticky, but let me see if I can pull the tape. If I'm doing it too early here, I'll know pretty quick. Let me try it. See how it does. Honestly, it's better to pull it a little early anyway if you had to make your choice. Not too early, but you'll get a better tape line. Any of you guys that's painted, you already know that, but the guys that haven't painted before, don't paint a car like one afternoon and then let it sit all night without pulling the tape. That's a mistake. Get back in there an hour or two. Just let it, after it gets tacked off, where it's dry enough to touch, you can touch it, but you can't, and dirt's not sticking to it, but not cured out. Get back in there and pull that tape off. You'll get a lot better tape line. So far, I'm alright. So if I can get this one to pull completely off, I'll show it to you in a moment. So just give me a second. Just give me a second to pull this off. Take it on there. That's all that I can get to for now. There's a few more pieces in there that are just buried and I can't get to them because they're wet. I need to let them dry a little bit. So there we are, all sprayed with lizard skin. You can now see the areas I wanted to tape off. My window regulator, the door handle, the slide for the window regulator, door latch, the power door lock motor. I taped these holes up so they wouldn't blow the stuff out the hole. Same thing with that hole there around the door hinge and that one. But everything else in here is covered. That's a spot for the doorway in the channel bracket. And then of course the door skins. I guess I hadn't showed you the door skins yet. Here's the door skins. I'll pull the tape off of those off camera. You just always saw me do it once. So that's it. Lizard skin is done. So today is Thursday. I hope tomorrow these will be dry enough. Sometimes this stuff dries pretty slow. It's 60 degrees out here and 80% humidity. Welcome to fall in Atlanta. So this stuff may sit here all night and kind of dry and not dry. It'll start drying, but I don't know how dry it'll be by tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow it'll be dry enough where I can start putting the skins back on. I got to put the skins on and I got to hang them one more time just to make sure, check on my alignment. And hopefully this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I can start welding the skins back on. That'd be great if I can. Don't know if I will yet, but that's my hope. Is by this weekend start welding the skins back together, and maybe next weekend, maybe have them welded on, and I don't know. From there, I'm not going to make any predictions because I always wind up missing. I'm going to get this thing out of here at some point, get my Model A in here. I just got to figure out when I'm going to call the break. I As long as I'm wanting to work on this truck and get things done, I should do it. But I want to get my Model A in here really bad. I guess I'm tentatively going to say by Thanksgiving for the Model A. Now that I said it out loud, I'll probably just jinx myself. That's a month. I think that's 4 weekends, 5 weekends. It's doable. We'll have to just see how it goes. But anyway, that's it for the lizard skin video. I hope you learned something about lizard skin. Again, I'm not sponsored. I just like this stuff. It is expensive, but I like it. And I'm going to keep using it unless it just gets so damn expensive I can't afford it. But it is good stuff and I like it. So anyway, that's it for the video. I hope you learned something. I hope you you know, enjoying what you're seeing. I hope I'm teaching you something. So I say I'm still slowly getting new subscribers and some extra views. As I've been saying, every subscriber, every view, every minute, every watch hour helps. I'm trying to grow my channel. So as I've been saying, if you like what you're seeing, throw me a subscription. It'll help to build the channel up quite a lot. I can't do it without you and your help. So anyway, that's that. Be sure to do all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Y'all come back now, you hear? Bye-bye.